Thanks, Joey. And the refugee crisis sparked by the Russian attack on Ukraine is now reaching unprecedented levels. Neighboring Poland has now taken in almost 2 million refugees, and the tide isn't stopping anytime soon. Ed Lavadura reports from a train station in a small Polish town near the Ukrainian border.
When Ukrainian refugees step off the train in Przemyśl, Poland, there's a sense of relief. They've escaped the war zone, but now these families must navigate a whole new world. Some are lucky they have family or friends waiting for them. But for most others, this tunnel leads them to the main train station hall where they start making sense of the overwhelming confusion on their own. They have no plan. It's improvised from here. When the refugees finally make their way off the platform and into the station, one of the first things that greets them is this sign in Ukrainian and Polish that says, "Here, you are safe."
Здравствуйте. Может быть, вам что-нибудь помочь? Подсказать что-нибудь?
Вроде вы уже подсказали, мне нужно в Варшаву добраться.
Families emerge from the train with endless questions.
Здравствуйте, может, я вам могу чем-то помочь?
На Берлин, а с Берлина потом можно будет ближе к Дании туда?
Да.
Маленький городок какой-то.
Да. Плюс я думаю, что там будут варианты помощи. Типа могут взять, например, семьи, могут там дать, не знаю, какое-то, возможно, в общежитие будут расселять. Может быть, будут просто люди приезжать и убирать.
About 20,000 refugees a day are endlessly moving through this one small Polish city on the border with Ukraine, filling the halls of this train station built in the 19th century. While parents figure out train rides to destinations across Europe, exhausted children find baskets of treats and toys. This is what it's like to figure out your next steps when your world has been unraveled by war. Confusion fills the air.
Куда ехать? А куда вы, кстати, собираетесь ехать? Вы еще ищете. У нас в 22:00 есть классный поезд в Прагу, если вы не хотите оставаться в Польше.
These refugees have made it out of the first maze onto a bus that will take them to Warsaw. And there, the questions will start all over again.
And leaders in the Bahamas have announced they're rolling back COVID-19 regulations because of the steep decrease in COVID cases, deaths, and hospitalizations. Leaders also announced sanctions against Russia because of its invasion of Ukraine. Our One Caribbean News' DeAndre Hamilton reports.
With a reduction in COVID-19 infections and hospitalizations, Prime Minister of the Bahamas, Philip Davis, announced as part of his mid-year budget communication on March 9th that cruise ships are no longer required to present a passenger and crew manifest disclosing vaccination status, and that testing requirements have been reduced for long-stay visitors. On March 11th, the Ministry of Health and Wellness also announced rollbacks. Masks are no longer required for hotel guests or when outdoors. The mask rule, which is for tourists only, is receiving strong pushback from the Bahamian public. The largest cruise ship in the world, Royal Caribbean's Wonder of the Seas, docked in the Bahamas on March 9th. The ship holds approximately 5,700 guests, 2,400 crew, is 1,188 feet long, and is projected to bring up to 28,000 passengers per month to the Nassau port. Some images of what it looked like when the ship cruised in: 19 levels, a 10-story slide, and a living New York Central Park on board are among the fabulous amenities. The Bahamas is enjoying an improved Level 3 rating for COVID safety from the CDC. And the Bahamas Attorney General Ryan Pinder on Saturday ordered that the group of financial regulators must not engage in transactions with sanctioned individuals, entities, or businesses linked to Russia or Belarus. Roped into the new rule as the Bahamas supports its allies on the invasion of the Ukraine by Russia are the Central Bank, the Securities Commission, the Insurance Commission, and the Gaming Board, among others. 121 companies in the Bahamas are impacted by the sanction. DeAndre Hamilton reporting.
And a slight increase in COVID-19 infections was recorded in Trinidad a week after the carnival. Epidemiologist Dr. Avery Hines made the disclosure while speaking during the Ministry of Health press conference on Wednesday. He said there was a peak that was higher than the other days in March so far, with an unusual number of cases for one day, March 7th, a week after the official carnival weekend, and a week or two after some official and unofficial carnival events. Hines said Trinidad and Tobago remains in the third wave of COVID-19 pandemic while the country is moving towards endemicity. He warned there is still a need to be cautious as there is always the possibility of another variant on the horizon.
So while we did see that upward peak, that uptick, it wasn't something that caused enough significant severe illness to burden the healthcare system. So it's not that it's concerning that we're missing data. Again, we see it, we know what it's from, but the impact has been mitigated by a few things, and one of them is the severity of the illness itself. The other is that the protocols that would have been in place to reduce risk may also have contributed to blunting or mitigating that impact.
And Dr. Hines, however, noted that there has been a significant reduction in positive cases registered so far this year when compared to 2021.
So that downward trend in numbers by week is being maintained, and we're also seeing a downward trend in that background salmon section, which represents the positivity. And whereas in January we would have seen levels of positivity around 70% of those who were presenting with symptoms and being swabbed, we're now seeing that we're down to about 32% or so of those who present who are now testing positive for COVID-19 when they are swabbed. So this is again an encouraging trend towards lower numbers and hopefully a more manageable phase of the epidemic.
And a Puerto Rican engineer changed her goal of being in NASA to accept her call of impact of the life of the most vulnerable with the nonprofit organization led by her. She had been helping during hurricanes, earthquakes, and in prevention of COVID-19 pandemic and feeding the homeless. Francis Felix has this story.
Helping others is more than a mission for the engineer Tamara Cintron. Her call and purpose of life to serve others in need led her to put aside her desire to work at NASA. Dr. Tamara Cintron Marco is graduated of the University of Puerto Rico in Mayagüez campus. She changed her dream of becoming a NASA astronaut for being an agent of change and impact in Puerto Rico. Misión Rescate has a special meaning for her because she comes from a family that serves. She learned to help the community since she was a kid.
My main goal always was be an astronaut. I enjoyed to be an astronaut. Something that happened is that I realized that even that I applied, because we have in the university in Rome, we have like a job fair and people can apply to different places. And I remember that I applied to be in NASA, but nothing happened because I realized in that time that that wasn't the place for me to be. I know that we have a good opportunity to work there, but I knew that if I stay here in Puerto Rico, I'm going to do changes in my life, and also I'm going to do change in my community and also in my country in Puerto Rico. And that's exactly what I want to do. And that's exactly what I have been doing for the rest of my life. For 26 years already, I have been doing what is my passion and it's my mission.
What type of help you give with Misión Rescate in Mayagüez?
The first is that Misión Rescate is a nonprofit organization that we work with young males who have drug addictions. Also, we have a school that we teach kids from this development in Mayagüez that we call it the Value School. And at the same time, we work with young kids with Be a Champion program, and also we have a good program that is my baby. We call it Ven Come Conmigo, come and eat with us. And we serve hot meal for young kids, for elders, and for homeless. Something that you have to realize is, what is your passion? Passion is what is in your heart. Sometimes we think to go to school because my parents, because my generation, what is the best for me, and maybe you're on the wrong path, on the wrong way. Just internalize what really is your passion and what you want to do for the rest of your life. People said that it's 40 years until you receive the Social Security. But by the way, just imagine yourself doing something for 40 years. that you don't have the passion, the love, and the desire, and by the way, it doesn't help your community, doesn't help around you, and if you want to make changes, the first thing you have to do is change your mind and change the path of your passion.
From Puerto Rico, Frances Felix.